Only the obsessed change the world, you know? And that's how you get those results, those $100 million plaques. Everybody's looking for an exit and whatnot. Hedge funds are more interested in pest control companies. Anything not sexy is where you should be looking.
Why did you decide to buckle down and make this vertical work?
Everybody else was chasing the next spinning plate and the next shiny object. I mean, Medicare is not going anywhere.
It's like anytime there's disruption in a market, that's a huge opportunity.
Hey guys, I just want to give a quick shout outs to our sponsors over at Ringba for sponsoring this video. And also I get a lot of questions about where to start with pay-per-call. This is where I recommend you start. The pay-per-call revolution, written by the founder of Ringba, Adam Young himself, who was a big affiliate before he started this awesome call tracking software company. So yeah, this is exactly what I recommend if you're new to pay-per-call. I have a free course as well, which you can see in the description below this video. But yeah, let's get back to the content. All right, guys, I got a very special guest. Well, two guests, technically. We have John Ventura. Thank you for joining me, man. I've been trying to get you on the podcast for a long time, and thank you for hosting us as well, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
My pleasure.
So, John, what are you focused on today in the online affiliate marketing space, pay-per-call?
Yeah. Medicare and insurance is definitely where we focus, where we're lasered in more than anywhere. Health insurance is kind of like the overarching focus. Medicare and Obamacare kind of being those granular focuses right now, working our way into PNC and just kind of the overarching insurance verticals.
How did you get started doing Medicare?
I've been in the affiliate space for a while, doing what I call the affiliate rat race of running, just chasing one campaign after the other. There's a lot of cyclical campaigns. I kind of got started when like Medicare plan got started in lead gen.
What year was this roughly?
Man, hard to say, like 5-6 years ago, you know?
It's like spinning plates.
It was just spinning plates all day,
Yeah.
right? And before then, it was constantly just chasing it, right? Because there was just the cycles of there's AEP and OEP, right? There was never the SEPs period, which is something that I figured out.
I'm a Medicare dummy, so feel free to
SEPs, most people right now are in annual enrollment period. After annual enrollment period is open enrollment period. Those are the two biggest periods where these consumers are able to enroll into a Medicare or an Obamacare product. Right?
Or change their plan. Most importantly.
Update their plan, etc. Post that, the only time you can change is if you meet special enrollment needs. Right?
So it's super narrow.
Correct.
Roughly, is there like a estimated percentage of how many are eligible per year? Like
That's a good question.
Yeah,
It's much more narrow.
It's not
Right.
big.
Right. If there's, 60 million total beneficiaries are eligible for Medicare, it's maybe 10% of that, 20% of that.
And how many new?
You might know better than I do.
No, I don't actually.
And how many people age into Medicare 65 every year?
Again, good question. I do know there's like around 60 million that are eligible. Right? I'm not sure what the daily amount is.
So you're running multiple campaigns before, and then you landed in Medicare, which is also super unique because a year or 2 years ago, there was a lot of regulations that came in that basically pushed a lot of people out of Medicare.
Right.
A lot of publishers, a lot of affiliates.
Right.
Why did you decide to buckle down and make this vertical work and build a business with it?
For that exact reason. Yeah, for exactly the reasons you said. Everybody else was flocking away. Everybody else was chasing the next spinning plate and the next shiny object. And I was like, Medicare is not going anywhere. It might have got harder, but that just means there's more for me. Unfortunately, now there's more people coming back to it. But we've built a good enough moat. We're continuing to build more of a moat. I'm a capitalist at heart, so I'm of the philosophy of I want to build the biggest building in town just because we built the biggest building in town, not by having to tear anybody else down. We're just doing damn good work. So we're just driving forward with that,
And this is a perfect example of what we talked about earlier, right? And it was like anytime there's disruption in a market, that's a huge opportunity. And there are those who go, wait a second, this is going to be really hard but not a lot of people are going to be willing to do the work.
Right.
And so will I break my back to take this opportunity when others won't, so that I can reap the rewards
Absolutely.
later? And so like what John has done is put the work in like many people have, and now he's able to hold that space, that position in the opportunity a lot better than originally in Medicare, where affiliates were coming in and out, because he has something to offer. In fact, I mentioned you earlier in a pod we were doing on John and Adam's Miami podcast tour.
Oh, yeah.
And I was complimenting you on how you were building your brand to disassociate yourself with the market, and to show that like, hey, we're building something here that is our product, and to stand behind it. And so people know you will continue to be there and can trust you. And John has done an incredible job rebranding AdSync. And
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's
Coming
just
from the boss of branding in the space.
well, thank you. But I love to see that in our space, because not a lot of people understand what that represents and the value of what you're investing in, but I do. And so when I see it, super proud of you. Like, you have crushed it there. And
a mentor told me today, actually, and it kind of sat with me, is as a CEO, your company is the product, not the product you sell. Obviously, you're selling a product, right? But the product for me as a CEO is molding this company into, what I see or believe it can be.
Exactly. And perception means a lot. And so in the market, when people go into the market and they see AdSync versus some affiliate who has nothing on his website or uses a Gmail or something like that, it doesn't create the same connection with the company, because they don't take it seriously. And a lot of people in our space don't invest in branding. And you've seen us do it. We spend millions of dollars in branding. And the result is everyone in our industry knows who we are. Everyone in the industry knows what we do.
Right.
And that's an incredibly powerful thing.
100% agree.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what do you think the biggest challenge you're facing right now in the middle of AEP is? Like,
I mean, honestly, man, oversupply maybe. There's definitely, I have a lot of different hypotheses of what's going on in the space right now, with obviously 1-to-1 around the corner coming Jan 1. I think there's a lot of people that don't know what their business looks like come January, or making maybe not the smartest decisions, because again, your business might totally change in 45 to 60 days, outside of that, I mean, for us, it's just continuing to build a better company. Our organization has more than doubled in every way, almost, from people to revenue to everything. It's crazy. We did an all hands meeting last week preparing for AP, and there was 58 people on the call. Blew my mind, like there was a bunch of people that I'd still.
Were there people you didn't know?
That I've never, I've never, we did it took us like 20 minutes almost for everybody to just go around real quick, introduce themselves, like where you're from, and just a little quick icebreaker. But it was just like, it gives me chills a little bit right now, just feeling it, like what I built, I guess.
Yeah.
To not toot my horn a little bit, but it started just me as a solo affiliate, and it's now 58-person organization, plus our agencies, another 25, 30 people. It blows my mind a little bit to think there's we got almost 100 soldiers that are at war every day with us, just trying to make the vision a reality,
It's
exciting.
Wild thing.
Yeah.
Like, kudos on the hard work.
Oh, yeah. Just getting started, baby.
Yeah, exactly. It just gets crazier. But it's a cool thing to be responsible for that many people. And
it's heavy, man. I mean, it's definitely something I don't take lightly. Carla hears me say it all the time. It's 60, 70 plus families that at the end of the day rely on me, because the buck stops with me, to deliver. And there's a lot of payrolls, and there's it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's fucking hard. I was thinking about that, so I don't know if I can curse. But
it is. It's fucking hard.
But it's what I asked for.
Yeah.
As well. And
yeah.
I love the challenge.
Yeah, and
I'm
I
here
think
for it.
I think it's a shining example of what's possible. You know, I love to see people with similar backgrounds like us. Like, you know, I was an affiliate back in the day too, and just decided that, hey, I can take these skills, learn leadership, build an organization that provides for a ton of people, that changes people's lives, that provides opportunities. And yes, it's really hard. It's a lot more stressful. It's a lot more responsibility. But at the end of the day, it's way more fulfilling and rewarding.
Yep.
And not the financial part, like literally just the like working with an awesome team and building something and then seeing the results and the outcomes. It's like a super cool thing.
100%.
So with Medicare right now and the one-to-one consent, my prediction is, and I guess I'm kind of biased, but my prediction is that we're going to see a lot more consumer-initiated inbound call volume as opposed to data lead outbound, which I think is better for consumers. I love it. Like, I can use my phone again. It's great.
Right.
What do you think about what's going to happen when those regulations go into place?
I think we were talking about it at Contact.io with somebody. It's going to be a more empty exhibit hall maybe next year. We'll see. You know, frankly, I don't know. I just know there's definitely going to be potentially less companies. The entire ecosystem is changing. You know, lucky for us, we're definitely inbound focused. So I'm very bullish on inbound calls. I've been saying it since I found out about inbound calls because of Carlos Corona. I was sitting in Brickell in my house and I saw a Carlos Corona ad. And I was doing lead gen and I was like, wow, interesting. This paper call sounds like so much better. You know, just being able to, like, for me, one of the big things for calls is being able to listen to the calls, right? Being able to listen to intent, learn from it, right? Versus just having somebody fill a form that gets lost, right? Now you can actually follow the journey, learn. This is what, I guess, to kind of bring it back to the original question, what got me into Medicare, and really here, it's that, right? I was doing all these lead forms and I was just like, the form was filled and then I was blind to what happened after, right? And then I started selling Medicare calls. It was the beginning of it. You were able to listen to calls and I started learning more about it, was able to start actually working with some of the agency partners, right? And being more involved into the sales process, which is why now we even have an agency ourselves, right? Because I was so entwined into the process that it's like, you know, why not put some bodies on and start listening or picking up the phone ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the work a lot of people aren't willing to do, is to do the QA. It's really interesting that you mentioned that. One of my first podcasts, the original Paper Caller show in 2018, was Manny Z. And all we talked about was quality assurance for an hour.
Yep.
It was actually, one of my most popular podcasts, but no one really still wanted to do it. And like, Manny created this wild grid and listened to a bunch of calls. I actually went to see if I could still find it. I still have the grid, and I went back and I was like, wow, even all the way back then, right? It's still good today, and I don't see people do it. But when you listen to the calls, you learn so much. And he listened to the calls personally for a while.
Yeah,
and
he learned.
Yeah, he learned, and that allowed him to really change his marketing around. And if I were going to get into calls, right? Like if all this disappeared and I had to start in calls, the first thing I would do was run traffic, listen to all my calls, adjust the ads, run traffic, listen to all the calls, adjust. I would listen to them myself, like all day long.
It's how you can adjust the messaging, you know, see what's getting them on the phone in the first place, right? Learn about what is the product that you're actually selling. You know, as an affiliate, I feel like most guys aren't. You're just thinking about an ad that's going to get you a low enough CPC, CTRs. You're thinking about metrics.
You're thinking about when you get paid.
Right.
Which is not the way to win.
100%, you know? And that's been a huge shift for us as well as we've evolved now, you know, like, and especially as the organization has grown, is now being more mission driven, you know, like now it's not about the numbers on the board. It's not about, you know, a bunch of CC and a bunch of revenue. It's about the beneficiaries. You know, and that's what really drives me the most about the insurance space and why I love it the most is, especially coming from the affiliate space where, sure, you can sell a gadget or a skin cream or a diet pill or something, but like you're not really providing real value to a marketplace or to the ecosystem of, you know, the world or whatever, right? Where now it's like with every live call, I know there's a beneficiary on the other end getting their service, their needs met.
Yeah,
you know?
they could save their life even in
100%.
your space. Yeah,
you know, it's amazing. that's what fires me up every day, and that's like what we're trying to drive, our company and our culture behind.
That's the most powerful thing you can do. And it's, we don't hide it over at Ringba either. Like our mission is super clear. It's to help our clients grow their businesses through incremental revenue. Like, how can I help John grow his business in an incremental way, right? So he can continue to scale it. And some people think missions are lip service and like Silicon Valley mumbo jumbo or whatever, but it's just really not.
Something that drives you.
Literally see it on the wall over here. It's nuts. Or these right here, which is hundreds of millions of dollars worth of traffic. And like, I see that and I just go, man, like there is
and think about the compounding effect of that, right? Like, sure, there's a few $100 million, there's millions of dollars there with just a name, but then there's the names behind those names.
Yeah.
Right? The phone calls that they generated, the people that were involved, the companies that they helped grow, right? There's economies of scale that were involved as well. There's like a whole trickle effect in what we do, which is
thousands of customers,
over from us,
with tens of thousands of team members,
right,
that supply calls to hundreds of thousands or millions of call center agents. And in Ringba's case, that means we reach hundreds of millions of consumers a year. Right. And none of them know about it.
Right.
It's the craziest shit. Right. And then, you wake up, you're having a bad day, and you're like, oh crap. Well, like there are people who need me to do what I do. Right. And so I can't be the victim. Like I need to do whatever it takes to make sure that everyone can win. And so the mission thing is really a profound shift, I think, in business. It had a profound shift for me in a big way.
It's a process,
Yeah, and we all go through it. And once that changed for me, like the things I invested my time in, worked on, everything I did, when it started revolving around the mission, which is bigger than myself, like yours, that really changed the quality of talent we could recruit. It changed what we thought about when we designed things, or how we were going to behave, or how we wanted
decisions you make. Right, it's no longer thinking about the short-term gain. Right, it's all right. How do we make an impact here, and and still be here 5, 10, 20 years from now?
Yeah.
What were the steps you took? If you could speak to like an affiliate trying to go from affiliate to offer owner, advertise, agency, whatever you want to describe yourself as, everything. Like what were those? What was that process like, going from just running campaigns and then transitioning over to like owning a vertical?
Yeah, I mean, it's all self-discovery, honestly, I guess. A lot of people ask me all the time, especially now as an agency owner, and a lot of different things that I do. And just gotta ask yourself, what do you want? Like what's the game that you want to play? I'm still picking my game. I'm starting to like figure out, I have my own arena here, right? Like we talked about it when I came over the other day, right? It's like I'm not competing with anybody else here. I'm competing with myself. I'm just trying to double my own high score. All right. And that's why I say it's a journey of self-discovery and kind of figuring out, again, what's the ultimate for you? Where do you want to go? What's the end game look like? And kind of work backwards from that. I know I'm not really fully answering that question, but that's like the best way I can put it. It's a lot of like just learning, falling on my face, great mentors, standing on the shoulders of giants at the end of the day. There's a lot of great people that, the Bill Somervilles and Joe Marinucci's that have brought me under their wing, been willing to answer questions and help bring me up along the way. So it's definitely not and as well, there's 58 other people that kind of helped and slowly inspired me, right? It starts with one, and then suddenly you're 10, 15 people, and then, you got to take it more seriously, and things like EOS, which is something I learned from Bill, really helped set the structure, right? To go from, just a solo affiliate or just running a bunch of campaigns to, okay, how do we like start to organize and think like a real organization, right? And then we took that and just ran with it.
So when you decided on Medicare, did you initially start just doing like transfers or set up like a call center?
It was always just inbound calls
Straight inbound. So you're running, you had buyer relationships, everyone
Not
else.
even. I was just always networks. We still have a very big network and broker buyer base. We started to diversify and build to more direct buyers and
then you added
agencies.
your own agents that were
Correct.
licensed.
That's
that was the
now
last thing you plug in.
Correct. Now we plug that in now because we have so much call. I have literally 4,000 calls a day that just hit the floor because nobody's there to answer it. So I'm like, all right, I should just start getting some bodies to answer it at least, and recoup the call cost is lost anyways, right? So that's our biggest issue, is just creating more demand. I guess that answers your question. My biggest issue right now, this AEP, is just creating more demand. We have great supply. We're smashing our buyers' targets. It's creating more demand and competing in the marketplace. Which how you do that is creating more value, which is some of those things we've talked about.
Well, my next project, the one I'm working on right now, is my third book. The second one's almost done, but the third one is from the other side of the lens, from the buyer side.
Okay.
And so my mission with that is like, how do I get it in front of 1 million people? That the market's huge, especially in insurance. Like, there's millions of insurance agencies or agents in agencies. It might be a 10-person agency, 20-person agency, whatever. Like, those can be hard to find. And there's so many of them in every single different category and business type. And so and now with the FCC changes, these people are going to have to find a new way to grow their business. And so that's my goal with that. That's what I'm working on presently. So I hear you. I get it.
Yeah, we're working through it.
Yeah.
That's where part of the brand building and whatnot comes from as well.
Exactly.
You got to position yourself as a leader. Dominate your space.
Exactly.
As best as you can.
So is your goal to grow a massive agency? Is that the end game for you?
Probably not. To be honest, I feel like there's a lot of shiny object syndrome amongst a lot of people in our space right now, especially when it comes to agencies, because it seems sexy, right? Because we have all these, for the same reasons, right? But our business is better. That's the secret. It's way better. It is a great business. I've fallen in love with the insurance agency because of the service that I can provide to consumers, and I just see a huge fault in how members are being serviced, and I kind of have just like a personal bone to pick in a way. So that's my thing. It's definitely not, I'm not trying to be the biggest agency in the world. There's definitely a different strategy at play.
But it also gives you better understanding of the full.
100%. Now I know the business better than another competitor.
Anyone just driving pure inbounds, you already have a massive edge.
Correct. We take our own inbounds, we convert them ourselves. Right? I can go to a buyer and say, I'm converting these myself. I know every stat in detail that there is about my campaign.
And the retention.
I know the retention numbers. I can speak their language, right? Which is a huge thing as well, right? And that's why I've gone deep in this as well, again, right? Like you can do the same with pet and landscaping and anything, right? You have your long list that I went through your whole course and everything as well. Like you have the whole long. It's great. All of those are billion-dollar opportunities. It's just a matter of you pick your poison. Like what can you be passionate enough about to just be obsessed about it? Like one of our new core values at our agency is only the obsessed change the world. And that's how you get those results, right? Those $100 million plaques is you have to be obsessed about it. I've heard Manny talk about it, right? Sometimes, and it's hard, and luckily for me, I don't have a family yet. I have a significant other, and she pays the price, and I pay the price sometimes because, you post about it recently. It's plugged in all the time, you know? But I'm obsessed about it, but I love it too. There's worse things to be obsessed about. And it's great that, I wake up every day and I'm fired up because our team's fired up. And again, there's an impact. In it. That's my long-winded answer.
What are you most excited about right now at this point in your journey with the business?
Continuing to grow, man. There's we haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg yet.
This is what most people don't realize about calls. even John said it, he's focused on Medicare, but landscaping is a huge opportunity.
Right.
You asked me earlier what I would do, and I'm like, like I would build a network of plastic surgeons or cosmetic dentists, like high ticket, high margin products, right? And front the calls and sell them
Right.
like work other people don't want to do. And there's just so much incredible opportunity in the space. It really doesn't matter what vertical you're in. What he said is the way. It's like, what are you passionate about? And then like start there. Because if you're passionate about it, you don't care when you wake up at 3 a.m. and like need to fire off some emails, or like you're at the dinner table, you're just like, fine, I'll take a client call or whatever it is, right? It doesn't bother you because like that's what you really truly want to do because you're passionate about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Fires you up every day,
Yeah, I'm obsessed with what I like, really like crazy.
It's all I think about.
Yeah.
And I still have my life obviously, but it's like I love it. I just love it so much. I don't know how else to put it, and I have so much fun with it every day,
He was asking me what I did for fun earlier, and I was like, yeah, just this, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
The bigger, the hairier, and the more audacious the goal, and the more exciting it is. Like, what else?
Yeah.
Why else would you want to do anything else?
How is having a good partner impacted what you've been able to do?
Without, impossible without, for sure. There's especially in Miami.
Yeah.
For sure, but there's without a good rock at home, it's like hard to achieve big goals. You're gonna be scatterminded, and
you can't you're fighting wars all day.
Right.
So you can't come home and fight more wars.
Right.
It doesn't work. I've been there. It's not a healthy dynamic. I mean, to be frank, it's why my last relationship of 12 years died. Like, I was not willing to give up the work or the passion or the travel that had to be done so that I could service you guys, so that I could make sure that you got what you needed. And I'm not willing to do anything unless it's like 1,000% all in, like fight to the death.
right.
And so like having what you just said has been super important. And, over the last 15 months, you guys have seen the results. Like, you see my mood.
Totally
and how
different
I
habits.
sit.
You got different energy.
Different energy.
right?
Yeah.
Different like vibe when you're.
Yeah. And I mean, the vast majority of that stems from my now partner. And so I've seen Carly with John, and we've talked about this. And it's invaluable. And
It is.
I don't think people truly understand how having a good partner that emotionally supports you, like how valuable that actually is.
Well, I mean, dude, being an entrepreneur is, again, luckily we don't have kids yet or anything, but that'll come soon. But it's making sacrifices, and we make sacrifices. It's varying degrees of sacrifices, and that could be, having to take out my phone at dinner sometimes because I need to attend to something, or like, all right, during AP, we're not traveling, we're not doing anything, right? I'm locked in here. Right? I don't leave my cave. I'm here because you're here right now, right? Otherwise, I'm behind a computer, But it's sacrifices at the end of the day. That's why I mentioned it too. It's like you have to pick what you want and what you're willing to do, right? To get what you want, right? Because you're gonna have to make sacrifices. It's just which ones are you willing to make to truly get there.
Yeah. And how are you willing to build your life around that passion? I think that's been a lot of interesting conversations I've had this year, and a lot of people have been asking me, like, I think they expect a different answer than I give them. But the answer is like, well, if you're going to work from the time you wake up till the time you go to sleep, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, then you just have to decide what's important to you and make time for it whenever you want to do it, because it's like, we're going to Pilates on Friday at 12:15, John. And people will be like, you're crazy. Like, sure, but I'm going to take a phone call at 8 o'clock at night. I can almost, I'll bet on it, right? Like, someone's going to call me. They're going to be West Coast, and they're going to be like, hey, Adam, man, can you help me with this? And I will, so until 10 o'clock or whatever it is. And so if like you're that committed, you can't sacrifice what is important to you.
Right.
And your health. You have to build it in unapologetically to what you're doing. And I used to not be willing to do that. And it made it a lot harder. Like you would burn out and not healthy.
Definitely.
And I know you're focused a lot on health too right now. And dude, like people don't realize that hour of Pilates we're going to do on Friday, I'm going to come back energized. You're going to be dead, but I'm going to come back energized, and I'm going to be willing to grind, for the
100%.
next 24 hours nonstop, and I won't be affected by it because I'm, taking care of that.
I love it. We're talking about routine. Like one of my routines is first thing I need to do is work out. Like every morning, 7 a.m. I'm in the gym, and my trainer is a pro fighter, and he kicks my ass, but like I love it because to your point, I come back and I'm a like warrior mentality, like and what I always tell myself is like this is the hardest thing I'm going to do all day. Like anything that we face in the digital world is not as hard as like lifting hundreds of pounds over your face that might fall and like potentially kill me or something, right? Or getting punched in the face by a pro fighter. Like everything seems a little bit easier then. It's like, okay, sure, we can figure out a way to optimize this out, right? Or bring down this buyer CPA or whatever it is, right? So it's a huge thing. I'm in EO and YPO and a bunch of these groups, and that's been a huge driver of growth for me, just like personally and in business as well. And that was a lesson recently as well. Like a lot of the guys in my forum, we've all had like recent big growth, just over the course of this year, and a big driver of that has just been health.
Yeah. And
a focus on health, right? And I think that's something we neglected.
Especially in the affiliate space.
Right.
There's
a lot of like drink and party and whatnot, and that's all great and have fun, but like there's the mind-body connection, heart, mind, body, soul. I work out for my mind to be sharper here.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I'm trying to speed that up.
Right.
Which is why you'll never catch me drinking. I'm fine with it, like whatever. But I'm not willing to pay the price the next day. Because for me at 40, because I don't do it very often, if I have like one cocktail, I'll feel it for 48 hours.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it. Like 3% bandwidth, not willing to give it up.
Right.
It's too hard to get it back.
Right.
Yeah. And those type of sacrifices a lot of people aren't willing to make either.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the simple ones, technically,
These are the simple ones, yeah. The thing is, though, you can still go out and have a good time.
No, you
without
can,
doing
absolutely. That. There's balance, Like everybody talks about work-life balance.
Well, that's not real.
I think that's bullshit. I think it's just your life,
Yeah.
I think there's this book I read that I love. It's called The Great Work of Your Life. And if you think about it, like I think it's like 80% of your life is working.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's almost more than you sleep, or equal to the amount of time that you sleep. Is
for us, it's more
working. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But even for the average person.
Yeah.
Right. Which is crazy that you spend it just doing something that you fucking hate.
I can't imagine, man.
Most
people do.
Most people do.
Most people do. Yeah. That's why mission and values is so important. If you have a team of people that truly believe in it, when someone comes in who doesn't like what they do, they're not going to vibe with that.
Right.
And then your organization will just defend itself.
Right.
Like they will be like, hey, this person's not a good fit.
Oh, now we're like such a strong ecosystem. I love it. It's like if any bacteria comes into it, they're all pounce on them.
Yeah. They crush the negativity.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Out of here, it's mob ties.
What have been some of the lessons you've had? You said that you're like 50, 60.
Yeah, 58 at Tank alone.
So you probably didn't just hire 50 and they all stuck.
No.
What have been like some of the main like two or three big lessons you learned through the hiring, firing, losing people?
Yeah, it's been a long process, brother. It sounds so cliche, but hire slow, fire fast is like the truest thing, And I'm like a very go person, so like I used to be like the throw them into the fire and see if they survive kind of guy, but that only works for so long.
That just costs you money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then I just have a growing payroll. you know, I think my biggest lesson, this has been a recent lesson for me, that I'll share is KPIs and decision rights. If like anybody from my team hears this, they'll just laugh because I literally just like obsessively say this now. It's literally KPIs and decision rights. It's every single person needs to have a set of numbers and measurables that they're being driven by and measured by, right? And the decisions that they're allowed to make to go drive that result. Now everybody that comes into AdSync has those, right? Or has a developing version of those.
Give me an example.
Like an ROI for a media buyer, right? Or percentage of cap filled, right? It's just simple. Everybody's is different. For a copywriter, it's your win rate of scripts, right? How many scripts have you written is one KPI, right? To measure your efficiency, right? How much are you producing, right? And then your win rate is how well out of, let's say you make 10 scripts, how many of those are winners, right? Is how effective are they, right? It's always measuring efficiency and effectiveness, right? Because we don't want you just producing a bunch of scripts. They need to make money at the end of the day, right? So it's kind of, every position is different, right? So it's kind of hard to just pull one out, but kind of like that, right? And then two, like as an example for a copywriter, like those are your two KPIs in order to win those, right? There's rules, obviously for compliance, but you're allowed to, one of the decision rights we give some of our people is, you can go buy whatever resource within, a reasonable margin. Like if you need to go get a course, that's under $1,000, go get it, right? We invest a lot into education, but it's like rules like that give them the power to now go tell somebody to give you this, right? Instead of having to come back to me, hey John, can I get this? It's no, I've already given you the power, the decision right power to go do it. If you need it, go do it.
You're freed up to do what you do without these little interruptions and.
Right. It's minimizing the time. We call it going to dad. It's me. It's like, I'm trying to minimize the amount of times people are running crying to dad that I need something or somebody didn't do something or so on and so forth. All right. And accountability at the end of the day as well. Yeah. Right. But it's also giving them the power, especially as the organization grows.
They feel empowered as team members.
Right. But the important thing with the KPIs too is unduplicated KPIs, right? Because now there's no too many hands in the pots.
Do you share them all publicly?
Not yet. Not yet. Right now it's just per department. What we do share now is we've now broken up the entire business into what we call our revenue funnel. Mm-hmm. It's basically our revenue stream from literally media bot to impression down to a billable and revenue, right? Mm-hmm. And everything that happens in between, right? We found every single person in our organization is involved in the top, middle, or bottom of that funnel, right? The bottom of the funnel for us is the back end call routing performance. The top of the funnel is the creatives. The middle of the funnel is the landers, right? And really now, it's crazy because it took us months of working through this and just looking at all these numbers.
Yeah.
There was 30-ish KPIs that just run through all, RPC, all these different KPIs, right? We condensed it to 23, right? Now out of those 23, there's the 7 that really fucking matter, yeah. Right? And out of those 7, there's 2 that if we literally have a 0.1% difference in it, will generate tens of millions of dollars in EBITDA to our business this year, just from a micro change, and now that we have the entire team, again, being obsessed about these, and just every week we're checking in on it, and every week we're sending updates, and every week it's just this is what we should be doing. That's it.
If you were locked out of Medicare tomorrow and you lost your whole team, but you had money, skill sets, knowledge, connections, what would you do different, or not different, but what would you then do?
Can I start again in Medicare?
Can't do Medicare. Can't do Medicare.
Can I do insurance?
Anything else you want? And why would you choose that?
Right now, honestly, dude, I would probably look at things like pest control. I swear to God, it's so not sexy, but you know what? Everybody's looking for an exit and whatnot. Hedge funds are more interested in pest control companies and
boring businesses.
Boring. Anything not sexy is where you should be looking.
Yeah.
The more you're oh, that's not sexy at all, the more you should be okay, that's where you should look.
I made friends with a guy at Contact.io that lives over on Star Island. He's in private equity. And I was talking to him and he's like, we do dumpster rental and fence rental and
barricades
and
obviously not all of those are maybe
porta
pay per call
potties.
worthy.
No, he's doing pay per call for all of it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's doing pay per call for all of it.
Proven.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, you know,
It's crazy.
we literally buy boring businesses, and like we just hung out. Like I vibe with this guy.
Yeah.
He's just like real low key, and we just talked about boring businesses for an hour, and I loved it. Like to me, that's an amazing opportunity. Like I always ask, or when Harrison and I were affiliates, we would always go like, what is everyone doing? Great, have fun. What's over there?
Right.
And we would always find success over there because people weren't interested in it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't sexy, right?
Sexy.
Like, how do you get excited about
shiny object?
yeah, porta potties? Well, you can.
Trust me.
It's a great business, right? It's a
is.
great high margin business. So, whenever I tell people to go look at something, it's always, what do you already know and what are you passionate about? Like, what, you know, did your dad own a mortgage company? Like, did your parents have a farm? Like, what do you got? And then also, what do you know that doesn't sound interesting? And we have tons of customers that are in all sorts of industries that no one would think there's any money in.
I love that.
They're just slamming.
Everybody only thinks about Medicare, ACA, debt. There's so much more. You know?
Especially
so
in home services. Like,
home services.
how many trillions of dollars worth of homes exist in the United States? You know, I've owned a home. It's a pain in the ass. Right? Like, gutters got to be cleaned, garage door breaks, windows crack in the winter, like all sorts of stuff.
And a lot of those businesses are still stuck in the 90s, right? Like those are stodgy and ripe for disruption.
Yeah.
You know? It's great. A lot of those owners are also aging out.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
buy them.
Right.
Yeah. John was asking me earlier, like, what same kind of question, like, what would you do? And my response was basically like, where's the work that people don't want to do? Which is like, how do I do biz dev and account management across 800, you know, garage door repair companies? Like, that seems like a nightmare. Why would you want to do that? And so my response is like, that seems like a nightmare I want to look into. Because if no one wants to do it, but it's high ticket, high margin, and fragmented, like that's the ideal scenario to bring technology and process in and build an amazing business. I think Matt Zivkovic did that incredibly well with the acquisition of Future Dontics, which is 1-800dentist.com, and rebuilt the whole business using our real-time bidding and just smashed it. Just like the people who owned it failed, and he was like, all right, game on, right? And and he runs it with a very small team. It's like all technology. And
do you know how big it is?
I do. And in account management's the most complex part, right? Like, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that. Definitely not at all. I appreciate the question.
No, that's good.
Cool. Well, John, it was a pleasure. Thanks for coming. We got to go catch this game. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, my man.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.